all my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today.
Yes, my friends, today is the day, and I want to welcome you to the amazing Unbox Me Today show. Our special guest today is Jeff Gibbard, and I appreciate all of you. You got to ring the victory bell for being here and being so amazing, because truly, this is the holiday season. Happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy everything to everybody. And I remember on Earth, there is no race. There's only the human race. So welcome here. We always spread opportunities and cheer. So without any further delay, please welcome our next guest. And he is amazing, Jeff Gibbard. And as LinkedIn, he is known as the world's most handsome strategist and professional speaker, which is kind of funny because when I get up on stage, I say that don't pity me because God gave me a speech handicap, but also made me this handsome. So I guess I'm the second most handsome person on the internet today. So Jeff is a professional speaker, business coach, and founder of Super Impactful and Super Production. He's the author of The Lovable Leader, a book about building great teams with trust, respect, and kindness. Jeff is on a mission to use his expertise in strategy and communication to make the world kinder, safer, and more equitable, helping people unlock their full potential and becoming unstoppable catalyst for change. So without any further delay, please welcome the one, the only, the person who walked to school up hills both ways in the snow, barefoot, the one and only Jeff Gibbard. Welcome to the show, Jeff. How are you doing?
You know what? I would say I'm excited. How excited am I? I'm very excited. I'm very, very, very excited.
I love it. And for those of you that are on the show live, you thrive, and on the replay, you get to play again. Make sure you click down below, go to facebook.com/StreamYard, so that way you can leave comments on the live as well, because when you're live, you thrive, and on the replay, you get to play again. So let's just dive right into the questions. I mean, Jeff, what a cool community you've started, the superhero community, and I just want to hear more about it. So, like, how did you find your path, and how did you find this purpose?
Oh man, we're jumping right into it, into the deep end to begin with. So purpose is a big conversation for me. I think about it a lot. And the long and short of it is that my father was a funeral director. And so my entire life I was surrounded by being around death, and so for a lot of reasons that made me think about the impermanence of things and how we only have a limited amount of time here. And so I really try to make sure that the time that I spend here, that I get to have here on Earth, that I make an impact with it. And so that's been sort of one of the big things that's been driving me. Also, because he was a funeral director and he obviously didn't love that work, he didn't have a big passion for it. He was instilled in me that if you find something that you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. So all I ever did was chase passion, chased it. And after a string of different failures, I came to the idea after, my agency life, ran an agency for about 8 years. After I left that world, I said, I just want to create a world with more superheroes in it. And so that's how the genesis of the idea of the Superhero Institute came along. And everything that I do is about impact. That's why I have the impact guy right here as my sort of like moniker, because I want to make the world a kinder, safer, and more equitable place. And so that's everything I do roots back to that.
I love that. That's fantastic. And so now, what would it take for you to work for someone else? I know we talked about this earlier. So what would it take?
Yeah. So, I've been working for myself since 2011. I had a brief period of time after my agency was acquired where I was part of the new agency. It was about a year and a half, and it was just not a good fit. And everything prior to 2011 was me working for other people. And I got to tell you, I hated every minute of all of it. I'm just not a great employee. I don't like being employed by others. I don't like having someone who can tell me, no, you can't explore that passion. You can't run with that idea. You can't try this thing. And so for me to actually leave the entrepreneur life at this stage, the offer would have to be insanely out of control high. Like someone would have to offer me like $250, $300 or $500,000. And I still would probably only ever stay for a year, because I appreciate so much the lifestyle that comes with working for myself and the freedom to make my own hours and be flexible. So it would take it would take basically an act of God for me to leave this life and be employed.
That's fantastic. And so like I would always say, like, if someone wanted to hire me now, I said, what's my value now? Well, my value is exponentially increased in the past couple of years because I found my voice. I've let go of the shame of my speech impediment. So now I don't care. I'll talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I'm looking to speak to 50,000 people live in a stadium. I mean, that's my next goal. And so, I feel like you got to give me $10 million. That's my starting. That's my bottom line. I mean, that's what I need at least, because the main thing is I don't want to keep it and buy Lamborghinis and nonsense like that. What I want to do is I want to take that 99% and donate to solve real world problems. So, in order to do that, though, you got to have work that you love. So why don't more people do work that they love?
I think because it's scary. I mean, let's be real. Like, for you to do any of the things that you've done, and I loved when we first connected because I just, your story really resonated with me, and that zeal to go and chase a thing that you want to do. A lot of people have that, but they don't necessarily have, they're sometimes, I think, are very scared to chase that. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. And I don't pin that on people. This isn't like a condemnation of people not taking the leap. I think systemically, it's very difficult to survive. Everything's more expensive. It's a race for survival in the society we're in. And I think because of that, people play it safe, because playing it safe, it's a human instinct to try and find our safety and our security. And jumping out and starting your own thing and chasing a thing that you love, it's framed to us as being, foolish in a lot of ways, because you really need to be able to pay your bills and take care of yourself. I think there's a way, and I believe in everything that I do in the way that I work, is that there is another way. You can love what you do and still have a good lifestyle. But I think for a lot of people, it's really, really scary. And then I think the other thing, and I know that you will appreciate this because of how deep your interests run in you, but I think a lot of people actually don't know what they love to do. I think it's a real, when I coach people, a lot of times I'll be like, tell me about like your purpose. Tell me what drives you. Tell me what really like jazzes you up. And they have no idea. It's because it's questions they've either never been asked. They've never thought about it. They've never been encouraged to explore it. And I've been lucky to have been encouraged from a very early age to think about what I love doing, to chase and pursue those passions. And so unprogramming people from that is really a bit of a challenge.
I like how you say that. Yeah, you got to deprogram people from that. Now, I just had a guest on my show yesterday. Her name is Julie Decay, and she talks about homeschooling your children and how she was an educator for so many years, and then now she realized her children needed her more at home. And actually, that's where the children really light up the most, because our school education system here in the U.S. has been based off of the near industrial revolution. It's early 1900s, because the parents would go to the factory. Sometimes the children used to come with them. This is back when the days where, if you were a blacksmith, you brought your child along to become a blacksmith apprentice, right? But if you're a carpenter or seamstress or something else, you'd bring your child along to learn that skill. That doesn't seem to happen anymore. So now the children are separated from the parents. The children are in school and they're indoctrinated into becoming good employees for corporations. And that's what generally what our school system teaches, not about innovation and heartfelt leadership. They talk about follow the rules, be on time, and listen to the teacher. I mean, listen to the boss, right? So what are we teaching our children? Well, I know my daughter, she's 13. She complains all the time about, oh, school is boring or this or that. And she's super smart. And you can tell both my kids they're very gifted children, like academically. So I think they're getting bored. I want to find other ways to challenge them. So I think that what you're talking about is helping them to find the right passion in their life. Is every person's, every parent's goal is that you want your children to light up, because it's not just about the money. I mean, the money's great, of course.
Yeah. Well, let me just say one thing on that point, because you made me, it kind of sparked you made me remember something, which was that. So the Superhero Institute, the idea of that was launched. The idea came to me and I started working on it in 2020. And in 2020, the other notable thing that happened apart from the pandemic is that my daughter was born, my firstborn.
Oh,
and the idea, thank you. The idea of the Superhero Institute in many ways was also a product of, I wanted to create a training program for her and for my son who was born a few years later. But I wanted to create a program for them to teach all of the skills that they couldn't get in school, to empower them with all of the values that we don't actually offer to children in a kind of factory mindset banking model of education. I wanted them to explore their creativity. I wanted them to know that they're capable of things, because for myself, I'm autistic and ADHD. And so school was very difficult for me in a lot of ways. I was very smart and I could retain a lot of information, but I struggled with some of the structure of how school is based in this, based in capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, the whole thing. There's a structure of what is right. And I didn't fit that. I fit, I obviously have some of the attributes that fit it from an external point of view, but I didn't really fit. And so I wanted to create something that allowed for people to be exactly who they are and to unleash their natural brilliance and superpowers.
I love that. I love that. So breaking news, you can unleash your superpowers. It's up to you. So for those of you that are out there watching on the live, you thrive on the replay, you get to play again. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you leave us some thumbs up, some hearts, leave us some comments so we know that you're getting the impact that you need, so we can keep bringing you great guests like Jeff. Oh man, that's a mouthful. Great guests like Jeff. Try saying that fast 5 times for the bonus round. So Jeff, great job. And tell us a little bit, tell us a story about somebody maybe that you've helped and coached, and what was the big challenge? Like what was the change you went through and what was the result?
So a lot of, I have so many different stories that I could give you that are very tangible.
Yeah.
And I'll do one of those if you want, but I want to start with one that I think is actually a little bit more relatable and real. And it's less of like here's a case study. I've worked with a bunch of different people. And one of the things that I've noticed, especially among my coaching clients who are women leaders, women executives, is that despite how brilliant they are, despite how, good they are at what they do, a lot of the times they have been structurally conditioned in some way to believe that they need to ask for permission to do something like that, am I allowed to even do that? Can I even say that? Can I even take that jump? All of that sort of thing. Someone who might be want to apply for a job, but they think, oh, I don't know if I'm really qualified. Meanwhile, their colleague who's way less qualified will go and they will jump right into it. And so one of the things that I find myself coaching multiple people on, my business partner, before she became my business partner, she was actually a client of mine back when I ran my agency. And then when she left her job, she called me and she was going to start her own business. So I coached her for about a year before we became business partners. And one of the things that we routinely talk about is just getting her in the right mindset to realize how brilliant she is. And I have several other clients who are in that same sort of situation where it's like, despite all of their accolades, despite all the things they've accomplished, despite all of their skills, their everything, the one thing that I find myself doing more than anything is just giving them permission, and not that they actually, that I have the authority to do that or that they need it from me. And I say this to them, you don't need my permission, but if you feel like you do, here it is. You have total permission to go and do that. And there's something about just hearing that for them that sometimes allows, and over time, I find myself having to do that less and less and less. And I think this kind of goes back to the why more people don't do what they love. I think they're scared. They might think they need permission, but when we shatter that illusion for people and let them realize that they are capable of incredible things and that they already have everything they need, Dorothy, click your heels, you're already home.
All right.
Amazing things happen from that. So I'll just start with that. That's one of the things I love doing.
All right. So Jeff, you have something that you want to share with everybody, and I want to click the link down below. I'm going to have a link that I'm going to share in post about joining the Superhero Institute for free. Check out Jeff. He's a great guy. He's helping people to up level and find the superhero skills in you. So please do connect with that. Oh, I love that. You know what? If I had to pick a what superhero would you be?
I mean, Spider-Man for sure. I mean, I love Spider-Man. I love it. Well, it depends on how the question is framed. Who's my favorite? It's Spider-Man. Who would I want to be? Like, whose powers would I want? It's a whole different kind of story. It would probably be
different. It's not about that. Whenever we talk about that, I always say, like, I'm Captain America, because I grew up that way. It's like, being little, being picked on, being thought of as less, and people underestimating me. And then I think karate transformed me into a super powerful. I mean, at 16 years old, I went to the World Championships. 18 years old, I qualified for the Olympics. So I feel like Captain America in reality is that now I have all this power. I'm strong. But for a long time I had that low self-esteem because I thought that because of my speech impediment, I was not valued. And eventually, after a lifetime of doing cancer research, hiding in the lab, having other people speak for me and getting the credit, they got the promotions, I didn't. And then the last manager I worked with for 9 months, she presented my work and left my name off the slide deck. I mean, half the slides were mine. You know, that's my origin story. So I always say that, you know, there's so many ways for you to grow. And I want to thank everybody out there that's on the live and giving us some hearts and some likes. Please keep doing that because the algorithm is here to help you and help you grow. So Jeff, love it. So Jeff, tell me a little bit more about, you know, let's shift gears and talk about you as a person. I would say people join a person, not a business. Tell me about, you know, like, where did you grow up and how did you grow up?
Yeah, sure. So I'm originally from New York. I grew up in the suburbs of New York. My mom was a Manhattanite. My dad was from upstate New York. Dad, you know, followed the traditional path of, you know, you graduate, you get a job, you join the union, you know, get a good job, you get married, you have kids, you pay taxes, you retire, you die. Right. Like, so that was the path laid out for him. But again, like he instilled very different values in me than that. And my mom, she was, you know, an entrepreneur in want, and she tried a bunch of different things and, you know, had some successes and some failures. But I grew up on the South Shore of Long Island, which is more like blue collar. Then when my parents split and they got remarried, I moved to the North Shore, which is a more wealthy suburb. And I always felt very uncomfortable in that setting, both settings really, because I'm not really a suburb person. When my parents would bring me to the city, I just felt alive. And so I always knew that I wanted to live in the city. I always knew that that's what I wanted to do. So when I applied to colleges, I applied to almost exclusively colleges in cities, wound up in Philadelphia to go to Temple. Stayed here, did that for film and media arts. So I was a film student. That was a lot of fun. Did a lot with photography, wound up doing a study abroad in Japan, which was one of the best experiences of my life.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Stuck around here, got married, got divorced, got an MBA, got remarried, got 2 kids. Now I'm here.
Outstanding. Hey, I'll tell you what, I mean, a lot of us have gone through so many different changes in our lives, and it's amazing how much happens along the way that, you know, sometimes, so it teaches to my clients too. Sometimes life happens to you sometimes, but actually what's happening is life is happening for you. Yeah. And if you think about it that way, guess what happens? Now you have your own way of choosing what to accept, your perception of your life and your situation, because it's not just about what did happen. It's about how you're going to react to it. And if you're understanding that, now all of a sudden you're in control of your life and your destiny going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a bunch of those sort of stories, as you know, I'm sure as you do, but I'll
So tell me a little bit about like, so growing up then in New York, being raised by a more or less like a union worker, you know, that definitely had to create some mind shifts for you. So did you have like maybe like a movie or a book that helped shape the way that you think today?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, you know, I opened with kind of like the morbid, well, my dad's a funeral director, so I'm around death a lot. But I got to say that the consistent through line of a thing that is a drumbeat throughout my life, that's a message I keep getting loud and clear, is that we don't have a lot of time here, right? So I told you my dad was a funeral director. So I was, you know, grew up going to the funeral home sometimes for him with work, right? Then on my last day of high school, my mom got into a catastrophic car accident and had a traumatic brain injury. She survived after like 9 hours in the operating room and like 8 pints of blood. And she survived, but it became a real challenge with her because of the brain injury. It became, you know, there was a lot of caretaking, but that helped shaped me as a person in terms of like how I looked at the impermanence of things. But to your movie question, kind of in between those events, right? So growing up as a kid, funeral director, and the last day of high school, mom getting into an accident. In my teens, I had like a little bit of like a teen depression, a little funk. I would call it like a midlife crisis at 14, right? And I wound up really just having like this deep kind of like teenage angst and depression. And I saw this movie called Dead Poets Society, which if you've seen it before, you know,
Williams.
Yeah. And so like, it's become a bit of a cliche to talk about Carpe Diem. But I gotta tell you, at the time, that shook me. It just rocked me, because I was sitting being all mopey and whiny about all of these different things that were bothering me as a teenager. I haven't accomplished enough. I'm 14, right? And And I watch this movie and I see the whole idea of carpe diem, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah. What am I wasting my time here being upset about this? I could go out and live today because I don't know if I'm going to have the day after or the day after the day after. So why don't I wake up today and I'll figure out what I want to work on, what I want to do, and what I want to feel good about, and approach every day like it's my last. And that movie shook me.
For sure. How about favorite kind of music? What
I mean, I'm an eclectic music lover. I would say the only genre you won't ever catch me in is country. With one exception, Shabuzi. Shout out to Shabuzi. Love Shabuzi. So my primary music that I listen to is mostly down tempo electronica type stuff, because it's what I listen to when I work. I use an app called Brain FM that I absolutely love. I'm on like a 170-week streak using it. Because it's just amazing. So I listen to a lot of down tempo electronica, but when I'm not listening to that, I like stuff with a real beat, because my internal piece is very like 180 beats per minute on the inside. So I listen to a lot of hip hop, but I listen to a lot of dance music and like techno, electronica, EDM sort of stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. You know, it's funny. When I told my son, like when I was 18 years old, I was big into techno, which was what it was called. Stuff like, 3M and, that kind of thing. Like my son, he loves EDM stuff. Music right now, and he loves anime music and things like that. And I wonder, because he's on the ASD spectrum, and that helps him to kind of keep cadence in his life and his mind. So I wonder if that's something that's similar with all of us. Is that like those that have some sort of a neurodiverse, does that pounding beat give us something to move forward?
I need a beat. It's one of the reasons I can't stand country is there's no beat. I need a beat, and I need a consistent beat. And the music that has a sort of consistent cadence and beat under it feels good to me. And then when it matches my internal rhythm, it feels great. So I'm a big fan of that as well.
I like it. Yeah. What's your favorite quote?
Favorite quote
or inspiring quote? Something inspires you?
Oh man, there's so many of them. The one that I probably say most often, I wouldn't say it's my favorite quote, but it's probably one of the ones that's most meaningful because I ask people all the time. But Steve Jobs, in his very famous Stanford commencement speech, he asks, "What is the dent you wish to make in the universe?" And that's a paraphrase. Maybe I'm not sure if it's a direct quote, but I ask people all the time, what's the dent you wish to make in the universe? It's one of the first questions I ask people. It's one of the early emails that I send in my newsletter when people sign up. Cause I'm deeply interested in what people care enough about to get out of the mundaneness of like every day, right? Like
I
think of in a bigger way.
People get stuck in that average. And then, if you can find a way to break out of that average, that's the way we do it, is like make that dent. For those that are new here on the live, make sure that you also like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you keep growing it. Helps the algorithm and helps us find great guests like Steve, and not Steve Jobs, like Jeff over here. He looks just like Steve, doesn't he?
I just like him. It's the beard.
Just like him, yeah. All right. So, Jeff, we gotta hop over to our next segment. But what is your favorite food? Before we send you that, let's find out what's going on.
I love basically the entire world of Asian cuisine, but Japanese food happens to be my absolute favorite. And the only other one that I could put in that same ranking, probably, Japanese is probably at the top. And then directly following that is Korean food and Cajun food. Like those are my three, that's my trifecta of favorites. And I'll probably throw Szechuan in there. I like spicy food. I guess it's my core favorite thing is I like spicy food. And then I love the precision of Japanese food.
All right. So hang on that thought. Hello, Kobe House. Yeah, that's right. Like we need a mix of Japanese food, Korean food, Cajun food in the green room stat for a VIP client.
Beautiful.
Make sure it's all extra spicy. Thanks, chef. So totally real call for the green room. So before we shift over, just another question. Just one more. What is it that you want people to recall about you?
About me? Man, that's a hard one because like I don't really care what people think about me, really. I mean, like in the sense that like, I mean, obviously everybody does, but like, I just want to do work that matters. And like, so when it comes to me, I'm less concerned with myself than I am about the impact that I can help others make. And so like, I don't want to center myself in that. So it's a hard question for me to answer because I don't think about that. I think about like, what's the next project I'm going to do that can help people? And then after that, I do the next one. And then I do the next one. And I do the next one. That's what I'm interested in.
Excellent. All right, folks. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to send Jeff to the green room. and with some food. I hope he saves me some. In this next segment, we talk about the a 60-second mind shift. Make sure that we also show off that this weekend we have our amazing mind shift workshop. There, scan the code. And for you being a guest here and watching here live, you get to get the coupon code to get you half off. It is MindShift50, all caps, MindShift, and the number 50. So make sure that that's my way of saying thank you to my audience for being here and watching. And sometimes in the world, just like Jeff, if you want to start making some changes, you got to do something first. You got to make some waves, but sometimes you got to do something else. You got to make a big splash.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.
All right, folks. So thanks so much for being here. And in today's segment of the 60-second mind shift, I got to say, it's funny to think that a lot of us go back and think that we're less worthy than we actually are. Marianne Williamson said that most people don't realize that they are more powerful than they ever thought they were. It is our light, not our darkness, that scares us the most. So, and the world needs that. And I paraphrase that. I'm sure I didn't quite say that quote right, but someone out there put it down in the comments and share with us, what is your light? What is the one thing that you do out there that uplifts others? Because one thing I've realized over the past 3 years after launching this show, so today we're at episode 42. Tomorrow I'm going to get to episode 46. Yes, that's how fast we're moving. And by the end of the year, we're going to hit 500. And we're looking for sponsors. So whether you want to support us, $100, $250, $500, $1,000, 90% of that is going to go to the National Stuttering Association. That's my passion project, is just to help raise awareness and to normalize anyone with an invisible disability, like a speech challenge. And it could be any sort of an invisible disability. So let's reframe those invisible disabilities into they are actually hidden superpowers. So, and that's why Jeff and I got along so well, is that like when I heard about what his institute was called, I was like, no kidding, that's great, because I talk about that all the time. So we had to connect. So in this mind shift, go back every single day, put down 3 things you're grateful for, and include in that, what is your one superpower? What is your one gift? I tell my daughter, her gift is like, wow, she is so organized. She's on point with everything. My son, he says, oh, I can't sell a course online on YouTube teaching people how to draw artwork. It's easy. I said, no, son, that's your gift. That's why you think it's easy. 99.9% of us, I can't draw like that. I draw stick figures, right? He draws these amazing characters. So definitely go out, find your gift, and go share it with the world. Because remember, it is your light that everybody else needs out there, because you have a hidden superhero right inside you. All right, so let's go back. Let's find Jeff, and let's see if he saved me any food. So Jeff, how is the food? Did you save me any? No,
phenomenal.
I'm kidding. I'll just order some more.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So Jeff, tell me, what do you think about that 60-second mind shift? What's your big takeaway, and what would you add to it?
I mean, I think you said it kind of perfectly. It aligns with how I think about things. Everybody inside of them has extraordinary abilities. Sometimes they don't recognize them. And a lot of the times, the things that we think are easy are actually the things that are our real superpowers, because they are not easy for everyone. Each of us is different. I'm a big neurodiversity advocate in accepting all different types of brains. And I think that's one of the things that we really need to make that shift kind of on a global scale, is that we need to accept people for exactly who they are, see who they are, and create a space where people are able to thrive because they're able to be exactly who they are. So I'm 100% with you on that. I'm all about the idea of superheroes, obviously, as you know, and I think it's also a dangerous slippery slope to getting to thinking about superheroes as a matter of superiority, that like what we're talking about here is like, oh, I'm better. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just being grateful for what you have and being appreciative of the skills and gifts that you can bring.
Yeah. So Jeff, we're near the end of our time here. Just tell me one last question. If someone gave you a blank check with unlimited resources, what is your grand vision to change the world?
And this is no monkey paw, right? Like, it's not like there's like some other thing that could come from it. So my number one passion, the cause that I spend my time thinking about is homelessness, because I think it is the most obvious evidence of a failure of society. I think that every human being should have food, clothing, shelter, healthcare as a standard human right. So if I had a blank check, I would ensure that every single human being had no want or need in terms of the necessities of life. And then I think that we would have less likelihood that people would be willing to let themselves be exploited or would be capable of being exploited because they would have everything that they need. And then we could be more creative, more amazing as a species, moving towards whatever our goals are as a species.
I love that. I love that. There is Jeff's link down below. I'm going to put it in the post in the comments. So make sure that after the show, podcast crew knows what to do. So Jeff, real quick, I just want to say thank you so much. You've been an amazing guest, and I appreciate all the audience out there. And for everybody else that's been on the show and part of this journey, you're on episode 482 of 500.
Nice.
500, and you are going to reshape the world. If I can face my fear of speaking on lives and now creating impact in millions of people, what are you holding yourself back from? You have superpowers too. So go out there and go change the world. I'm Coach Raja, and as always, don't fake it till you make it, believe it and become it. And we'll see everybody on the next show. Bye-bye. All right. So real quick here, in post here, I got 3 quick questions for you, for your testimony. Just number one, like, why did you want to be on my show today? Why here?
I think you're a good dude, man. Like when we had our chat beforehand, we were introduced through a mutual, and we had our chat. I was like, oh, there's just a lot that we believe that is aligned, right? So I think for that reason, and I have a whole thing about working with people that are values aligned, that are purpose driven, that are kind, want to make the world a better place. And I saw all of that in you, and so I was like, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen if you get the two of us on a chat together? We'll cover some interesting ground, and hopefully we'll help someone.
Absolutely. Thank you. And so what was your biggest takeaway or learning point from the show today?
I think that the ideas that we sometimes think are so unique to ourselves that we sometimes might be afraid to share. Yeah. Because when I wanted to do the superhero stuff, I immediately thought it was silly. And my wife actually is the one who recommended like getting involved in making superheroes part of my brand. And I was like, that's silly. And I spoke with other people, and they kept coming up again and again. I was like, you know what? All right, I'm going to embrace it. And then I keep meeting people who have a similar belief, a similar passion for impact, and who believe in superpowers and things like that. And I think it gives evidence that that thing that's often holding you back, do you think people won't take you seriously for? There's others out there. Your people are out there. Whatever your thing is, that your people are out there. So just put yourself out there. Let them know.
All right. And last question, just totally unbiased. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you recommend me to somebody else's stage?
Come on, man. You already know the answer to that, don't you? Come on. A scale of 1 to 10, do I have to keep it in a 10? Raja, you're cool as hell, man. I'll give you a 10.
Okay,
I think you're good people.
Perfecto. I love it. All right. Podcast crew knows what to do from here. And thank you so much, Jeff. You've been fantastic. And we